Today on Real Life in Real Estate, what value do you bring anyway? Well, welcome to Real Life in Real Estate. I'm Mark Peebles, here to help you live your best life and achieve ultimate success. And over the past few weeks, we have been talking about ways to help you after the NAR settlement to really sell value and how to run a good buyer presentation. What is the framework for that? What's the framework for the home buying process to teach buyers? Those are the last two episodes. Go back and listen to those. I encourage you to do that. Today, we're talking about value and more specifically, your unique value proposition. Like one of the unique value propositions that I've heard a lot over the past couple of years has been from Advantage Home Warranty, who happens to help sponsor the Real Life in Real Estate podcast. Advantage Home Warranty, one of their unique value propositions, the value that they bring is that they own their own plumbing and HVAC company. One of the biggest challenges in the home warranty world is great service or good service even from plumbing and HVAC contractors, the two largest claims that home warranty companies get. And so sometimes you get, some plumber that doesn't really know what they're doing, and it takes them 3 days to get to you when you've had a water emergency. And so Advantage Home Warranty fixed that problem. The way that they fixed it and the value that they bring is that they own their own plumbing and HVAC company so that they can control the service, control the pricing, and provide the best quality service out there. So that's why I like Advantage Home Warranty. They're an Ohio company. If you're outside of Ohio, they are not there yet, but eventually I do believe this company will continue to expand. If you want to learn more about them, though, it's AdvantageHW.com. Thank you so much to Advantage Home Warranty for being our loyal sponsor. All right, so I want to get into this today. I want to talk about your unique value proposition, the value that you bring to your clients. I believe now more than ever, we have to be talking about the value that real estate agents bring. One of the things that even when I'm in listing appointments, I've been talking about is the value that buyer's agents bring. I say that the best buyers out there are represented by buyer's agents because buyer's agents bring so much value. But as you're talking to buyers, you need to be able to show why you bring great value to the process. And so we want to talk about that today. Now, there's a term that has been used for many years. What's your unique selling proposition? While we are in the sales business and we are selling our value, I would prefer to call it what is your value proposition. Just get in the mindset of this is the value I bring. This isn't me trying to sell them. This is me showing them my value, how I solve their problems. And when I do that, people want to work with me. And so when it comes to your unique value proposition, it really comes down to two things that you need to cover. One is, what is the problem that buyers have? Okay, so there are a lot of problems out there that buyers are going to deal with their agent and through transactions. So you need to lay out the common problems that buyers have with their agents. And then what unique experience or way of doing business do you offer that is going to solve those problems? And so I want to talk a little bit about this for a few minutes. Let's start with what some of those problems are. Now, in the era of ChatGPT, you can go and have a whole list of problems made that people experience or complain about with their agents. But I just want to talk about some of the problems that I commonly see out here and then think through your experience. What challenges have you had with real estate agents? One of the common ones that I hear quite a bit from agents is that other agents are terrible about picking up their phones or responding when we have issues in a process, right? And so agents are difficult to reach and they're bad at communication, okay? Buyers and sellers experience that from their agents all the time. There was a time where houses used to sit on the market for several months. When I first came into the business, going into 2008, we would actually have houses that would be on the market 6 months, and then we had to renew the listing on them. And one of the things that we would hear, especially when I would go out on expired listings, is that, yeah, my agent put a sign in the yard and I never heard from him again. Communication has always been considered a problem with real estate agents. So a lack of communication. Another one is limited availability. Well, agents are busy. We're very busy people. People don't really see all that we have to do. And especially like with buyers, if you're working with 3, 4, 5 buyers who are actively pursuing finding properties, you might have to show several properties a night to several different buyers. And we've dealt with this for many years. It was even worse in 2020, 21, 22, when the market was just crazy. Not only were we showing properties to buyers every night, we were going home and writing contracts every night. So there is an issue, though, that, property hits the market and the agent is just not available or won't respond to me. Back to that poor communication. Lack of market knowledge. We do see this a lot in newer agents. And even experienced agents don't keep up with the market. I have known agents that are older that have been in the business for quite a while that they're still talking about market conditions from 8 years ago, when they were selling 8 years ago, and they've gotten used to saying the same things and they've said it for years, but they don't really study the market to keep up with current market conditions. So there's this lack of knowledge, and that is an issue or a complaint that buyers will have about their agents. Inadequate negotiation skills, leaving things on the table, leaving money on the table for your buyers or for your sellers. This is an issue if an agent doesn't truly know how to negotiate. And we get a lot of people in this business that have never gotten any kind of formal training on negotiation. There is an art to negotiation. There's several great books out there, but there are things that you need to learn about negotiation. And inadequate negotiation skills, certainly a complaint from buyers and sellers. Complex transactional situations. We all get into weird, complex things when, we're in this business. I've been in the business 18 years. I've done hundreds and hundreds of transactions. I have seen weird stuff out there. And every time I come across one of these new situations, and I do mean new situations, there's stuff all the time that's like, well, I've never seen that one before. And so the complex transactional situations can lead to a lot of stress for buyers out there, and they need agents that need to know it because it is a common complaint. Agents that are not listening. So a lot of times, I had this recently. I sent a referral out, and my clients from here that were moving out of state, they said, we just feel like that agent is not listening to us. And I find that it's very common in the business. We're all people. We love talking. A lot of us, we end up talking too much about ourselves and not listening to the true needs of the client, okay? And so that is a complaint of buyers and sellers. My agent wouldn't listen to me. Lack of transparency. I hear this one all the time. Like, people buy a property. I've heard this a lot in dual agency situations, which I know some of you in some states don't have dual agency. Where I am in Ohio, we have it, and then some of the other markets in other states that we work in, they do have it. But I know some places across the country don't allow it. But I hear a lot in dual agency, yeah, like that agent just wanted to make the sale, and they weren't very transparent with us. I hear it from buyer and seller sides. It's the whole, you're not being very transparent when you're over-promising and under-delivering. And so my agent was not honest, was not transparent with us. Okay, so this is just a small list of things that buyers and sellers complain about when it comes to their agents. And so going back, you're going to make this list. The first page of your unique value proposition is the list of issues or problems that a lot of buyers or sellers have. And we've specifically been talking about buyers. And so this goes right into your buyer presentation. you want to position in their head. Don't ask them what problems you think a buyer might have. You want to actually tell them what the problems are that buyers have. But then you're going to use your unique experience or way of doing business to show how you are going to solve these problems. So let's talk about it. How do we solve the problem of, not being able to reach my agent or the lack of communication? One of the things I like to talk about with my clients is I will communicate with you on your terms. And I always ask, do you prefer to be communicated with via text message, phone call, or email? What is your communication preference? Then the other thing is that I learned early on in the business, whether it's a buyer or a seller, before they buy or before the house is sold, you need to be continually communicating with them. So a buyer, that's pretty easy to do. I'll send just a text message out once a week. If I haven't heard from a buyer, I'll send a message out and I'll say, hey, have you seen anything out there that I can get you into? It's just a small, simple communication. Or even more effective is finding a property or two and sending to that buyer and saying, hey, what do you think of these properties? And getting some feedback from them on why they do or why they don't like those properties. And it's always an opportunity to say, hey, can I show it to you? Okay, so there's just communication. It's like not letting it go silent for long periods of time. You want to be continually communicating. And then the other thing is sellers. Like that's one of those things where now, as we've seen in the market, houses sit on the market a few weeks longer. We're seeing it where sellers are saying that they're not hearing from their agents. Well, that's where you need to have a weekly communication plan. When I go on a listing appointment, I know we're not just talking about listings today, but when I go on a listing appointment, I actually tell my sellers that every Tuesday I will give them an update. I run a market report. I look to see how many new houses have come on the market. Is the market still moving? And then I'll tell them what I'm planning to do this week to market their home. And, here's the action that I'm going to take. Okay. So, it's communication is critical in this business. And so if you want to beat that, tell them up front how you're going to communicate with them and set that expectation. When it comes to limited availability, you want to show that you are readily available to show homes to them and write offers. Now, I'll be honest with you, as for years I was a team lead. I was selling over 100 homes alone, just me. I've been a very busy agent. Now, I still do sell some real estate. I also run a company. And so one thing that I always talk to my buyers about up front is that I will always make sure that you get into the homes that you want to see, okay? And the way that I do that is I have teammates that will always be available to show them that home if I am not available. Now, with the way that my business is now, I always try to show homes to my buyers. My business is largely sphere of influence, people that I'm very close to, and vast majority of them are past clients, right? But I will make them aware that, hey, if I am not available for any reason, I have teammates that I will call on, and I will always make sure that I get you into the house that you want to see when you want to see it. Same thing transactionally. Like if there's ever a need during the transaction, I have a transaction coordinator. If you're a newer agent out there, you probably don't have a transaction coordinator. But guess what? Use that to your advantage to say, I will always personally be available to you to answer your questions and to help you throughout the process because you have more time to dedicate as a newer agent. That is something you can use to your benefit. All right. So that's how we overcome this limited availability conversation and show that on the second page on your unique value proposition. Here's how I fix this problem. Lack of market knowledge. Let me tell you something. If you work real estate, you need to understand how the market is moving, and there are ways to study the market, okay? There are running comps in specific neighborhoods, being aware of what houses have sold and haven't sold. If you're a newer agent, one of the things that you can do to become aware of the market is go and preview homes, okay? No, you may not have a buyer, but guess what? You're familiarizing yourself with homes in different price ranges, with homes in different neighborhoods and neighborhoods overall. Maybe you go, there's 2 houses available in a neighborhood, and you're going to go and you're going to preview both of those homes today. Guess what? Next buyer you have in that area, you can say, yeah, I was in a couple of those homes recently, and let me tell you what the activity has been on the market. Those homes hung out for 6 days on the market, whatever the case is. But you're familiarizing yourself with the market and with what is available on the market, and then doing overall studies, market analysis, and understanding how one town, Springboro versus Centerville versus Kettering, is how those markets are moving. These are great things to do. And I'll talk in future weeks how I do real estate reviews on various markets. But you need to study the market. If you're not sure how to do that, talk to your manager, talk to your broker, talk to your coach. But you need to be understanding how the market is moving so that you can show that I understand the market and I can help you navigate this market. Inadequate negotiation skills. Let me tell you, no one just walks right in to this business and knows how to negotiate. Unless you came out of a sales world where you were doing a lot of negotiating, you probably don't have a lot of negotiation skill. I will tell you, I learned from the best. My dad, who's been in the business 54 years, is a phenomenal negotiator. And he taught me things like, he who speaks first loses. And so sometimes you want to ask the question of the other agent you're negotiating with and then shut up and let them be the first to talk, because they'll start giving stuff away that will give you the benefit in negotiation. But here's what I will tell everyone. One of the best things that you can do, especially in the environment that we're in, is become an expert in negotiating. How do you do that? There's great courses out there. There's a certified negotiating expert course. Harvard Business has an online negotiating course. That one's a little bit more pricey to get into, but there are great resources for us out there. Get some letters behind your name. I became a CNE, Certified Negotiating Expert, many years ago. And in fact, I've recently decided I'm going to go back through the courses because we're in a new era where being up to date on the latest negotiating skills, which there's no, quote, latest. There's nothing new under the sun. But I will tell you that I can freshen my skills. I can always get better. And having those letters behind your name, if you're a new agent or even if you're an experienced agent, there is value behind that. And so you want to show that you are a negotiating expert. You're certified, or you are, you have this experience in negotiating. There are some great books out there. I think Donald Trump has The Art of the Deal. I think he talks a lot about negotiating in there. Never Split the Difference is another one that a former FBI a negotiator teaches how to negotiate. All kinds of great information that you can take in just to make yourself a better negotiator. Now, complex transactional situations. This is something that, as a new agent, you're going to run into a lot of complexity. It seemed like when I got into the business, and then every new agent that I had on my team over the years ran into the craziest stuff. And so just be aware, in this business, like I said, 18 years in it, I'm still seeing new things that I've never seen before. You're going to see crazy transactional situations. So if you're a new agent, then I would sell the experience of the team that you have around you, whether you're on a team, okay, or your broker offers legal support. That's something that we offer to our agents through our title company, is we have access to an attorney who can answer questions. Maybe it's your broker or your manager that are there to support you when you get into complex transactional situations, and you're going to lean a little bit on their experience. But then, for someone like me, I can say I've been through hundreds of transactions. I have seen so many complex situations that just about whatever you run into, I'm going to be able to help you through. In fact, a lot of the seasoned agents in my company, when they have issues, they're coming to me. And so I'm very good at helping you navigate through complex situations in the real estate market and help you get into the home of your dreams. All right, so you want to be ready to sell either the support around you or the experience you have that's going to be beneficial to your clients. Agents not listening. Let me tell you, you can't be like, well, I'm a good listener. That doesn't work in a buyer presentation. But up to this point, as you're making your buyer presentation, you're proving that you are listening to them, okay? You're taking notes, right? You're repeating back to them things that they've said. You are showing them actively through the process that you are a good listener. All right, when a buyer asks a question, even if you say, I'm going to get to that in a couple of minutes in my presentation here, you want to write that down and make sure that you don't miss it, right? That shows that you're actively listening and paying attention to what's important to them. When a buyer asks a question through the process, you're in the transaction or you're making an offer and they ask a question, make sure you stop, acknowledge the question, and answer the question for them, okay? Don't jump over them as they're asking it and think you know what they're going to ask. Listen fully to what they're asking or what they're saying, and then process and respond, okay? But we need to do this not just when we're trying to land the client. It needs to be something we do throughout the process. And I promise you, if you become a great listener as an agent, and you can help your clients through the process and continually be the one that has the answers or is getting the answers and responding to them through the process and making sure that they understand everything, that's how you're going to get a bunch of 5-star reviews and referrals at the end. But listening is absolutely critical. And lack of transparency, when it comes to your unique value proposition, I think one of the best ways to answer this is with your personal values. Having your personal values listed out on your unique value proposition, I think is a great way to show, like, hey, integrity is one of my one of my core values, personal core values, and I take it very seriously. Here's an example of a time where I had to use integrity. And sometimes I will go to stories where I was going to lose a deal because I was going to be honest with my client. One of the things I always tell my clients is I am not afraid to tell you if you need to walk away from a house or walk away from a deal because we can't get it to where you need to be. I care about you that much. And that shows transparency through the process. So, I know this was quick. I know we have hit several different problems, several different situations. But here's what I want you to remember. In this time, if you want to win buyers, you need to show your value. You need to sell the value that you bring in the process. And I believe the two ways that you do that is you show the problems, or you talk about the problems that most agents have, or most clients have, most buyers and sellers have with their agents. And then you show the unique experience or way of doing business that you offer that is going to help get them to the closing table. So that's it. I hope this has been of value to you today. Now go out, develop your unique value proposition, and start selling your value to your clients. And I know you'll win. I'll talk to you soon.